What's up, guys? The Olives breaking down WandaVision episode 6. I'm Joe,
And I'm Layla.
and we are here to break down episode 6 for you guys. And we would like
Yep.
to comment and chime in. Last week we tried this with episode 5, and the comments didn't come through. So we felt like we were talking to nobody. But
Yep.
today, we got the comment.
Yep.
So,
Yes, we got the comments now.
should get started. Because
Yes. Also, remember, if you guys have any theories or stuff, something, you can chime in or you can say them in the chat.
yes. If you guys would like to join the feed, let us know. If you're cool, we might give you the link to join us right here on screen. So, episode 6. Layla, what's going on in episode 6? You tell me.
In episode 6-1, there is a lot of glitching. And there is a lot of theories about episode 6 because there's just so much going on.
So, it starts off in some cool little Easter eggs. There's a lot of Easter eggs going on in this episode and like all the episodes. So I'm going to show people a little throwback that if they don't get it, they'll get it now. So the Halloween costumes that Wanda and Vision were wearing right here are actually their old comic book costumes. So I don't think I showed
They are.
Have you seen this yet, Lace? So this is Vision in the comic.
Oh my goodness!
Pretty cool,
that
right?
is the same outfit, the same exact outfit.
And so we'll go back to Wanda for a second, and Wanda in the comics.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot.
But it looks just like the situation. And Quicksilver, ready? That Quicksilver, and that's the comic Quicksilver. So it's got the comic throwback thing going on.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. As they always do, they drop some Easter eggs in there for us. So the costumes were where it started with the Easter egg, old school looks, and then pages and pages of notes.
Yes, we wrote like 6 pages of notes just of theories. It was a lot.
So other Easter eggs that I want to mention that happened. We'll do a little section called Easter eggs. Let's see. What does that look like? It looks like Easter eggs. So Wanda said later in the episode, middle episode, she said to Quicksilver, kick ass. Now, the funny thing about that is the actor that played the original Quicksilver plays a character called Kick-Ass in a movie called Kick-Ass. And Evan Peters, who plays the current Quicksilver, was also in that movie. Both guys that play Quicksilver were in the movie Kick-Ass. It's pretty cool. A little Easter egg right there. A little
Easter egg, and I'm starting to think that it has something to do with that movie, because why would they put an Easter egg that in that show?
That's like a nod, like a little Easter egg, so that people can go, oh, I know why they made that comment. And
okay.
Other Easter eggs that I found, let's see. I think you think that there's an Easter egg with the license plate for Agnes's car, which was OA1B2C. So I don't know.
I think it was a 0, not an O. I'm starting to think that it was a 0, I don't know.
It was OA1B2C. And
so what I think is, like, usually the numbers and stuff would make sense, especially like where you dial phone numbers in, because then you could see if it spells something out. But there's other letters in there as well, so I'm starting to think that the letters are just also in the sentence and the numbers are just trying to finish like that word.
I don't know, there could be something in there. I know you noticed it, and they seem to be dropping a lot of things in there.
Yes, they dropped a lot of Easter eggs and like glitching and I can't explain it, or else I'll just spoil this whole entire thing for you.
Well, no, spoiler alert, man. We are going, if you have not watched this, do not watch this. Because we are talking all about...
Yes, if you have not watched that, do not watch this.
If you have not watched
hopefully
that...
you watched it, because we want you to watch this, because...
Yeah, well, they can't follow what we're doing unless they know what we're talking about. So...
Yeah, except this doesn't just have to be live. I think it's also going to be posted on Facebook. It doesn't technically have to be live. You can still see it even if it's not in that exact time.
Right. Now, also, some things that happened that I wrote down in the notes that we went over, Layla. Wanda calls Pietro in the beginning. She didn't call him. She says to him, "I'll turn you into a pickled herring." Now, everybody thinks Quicksilver, this version of Quicksilver being there, is a major clue as to what's going to happen down the line. But the term red herring, and I think they use the word pickled herring, a red herring is a clue that is intended to be misleading or distracting. So she called him a pickled herring. Maybe the whole thing where people think there's a multiverse coming and connecting the other X-Men into the current situation, maybe it's a red herring. Maybe it's a distraction and it has nothing to do with the outcome. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that.
Okay, wait. Real quick, let's just check the comments and see if we can answer anything.
Okay. Cecily has said, "Layla, you're so eloquent." Thank you, Cecily.
Thank you. I know I am.
And humble, apparently. Quite humble, too. So that was one thing that I found interesting. Also, they drop a little hint, I think, when Hayward says to Monica, "You're constantly advocating for superpowered individuals." And then he says something about what it took to keep the lights on. Now, we have noticed...
I noticed that... Yes. Okay, so in last episode, we thought that...
Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Well, no, not Captain Marvel. Miss Rambo or...
Monica Rambeau, yeah. That's what
yes, that. I just had a huge... brain, it just exploded for a second there, because there's just so much information going on. Anyway, I thought in the last episode we thought that Monica Rambeau had powers because her brain scan was blank, and he said something about turning on the lights. And in the comic books, Monica Rambeau has light superpowers. So I think that's another hint for Monica Rambeau having light superpowers.
Yes, that was Layla that picked up on that when he said keep the lights on. She was like, "What? That has something to do with the light superpowers." And
yes, I definitely knew that.
And he said, "You're constantly advocating for people with superpowers." Matt Jones says, "My brain exploded too."
Yeah, I think everybody is who's watching WandaVision, because honestly, it's just so much information going on at once, and there's so much different theories. It's a lot.
It is a lot, and I'm glad you're smart enough to pick up on it, because you helped me out in analyzing it.
Yeah, like even I picked up on some theories myself.
Yes, you did, and you're doing a good job with that. I really appreciate it. So now, remember how in the last time we did this, we were discussing how Mephisto and the demons and the devil that might be involved?
Yes, and I realized that Wanda's costume is kind of a devil-like costume, and it's like red, and there's like these horns.
And I had never put that together, but it does kind of resemble a devil or a demon kind of look.
Yeah, also, it does, because even a couple people we know have dressed up as like devils and stuff like that, and they had like that same exact costume. So I'm starting to think that it does have something to do with like the devil and stuff.
Right, there's some sort of tie in there. And also, remember when Pietro was taking the kids trick-or-treating? He said, "Unleash hell, demon spawn," which means like children of the devil. So, and they were born in Westview. and they're saying, well, Vision's an android, so Wanda had these babies. Maybe they're devil babies of some sort, and we just don't know it yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and did you notice that the two have different powers?
Yes,
they have different powers, and they're twins too. So that's really weird that twins have two different superpowers. You would think that they have the same thing.
Keep everybody going for a second. Like, I gotta plug in my computer, or it's gonna die.
Okay. Yeah. So if you did not notice, like one of the kids were allowed to have super speed, just like Pietro, and the other kid has the power to control things and people, just like Wanda we think is doing in that simulation.
Right.
Let's go back
So
to
it
the
almost
comments.
looks like they both the twin kids have the similar kind of twin powers that Wanda and Pietro had. Wanda had the magic, Pietro had the speed, and it looks like those twins have the magic and the speed. Tommy and Billy,
yes,
correct.
Yes, Tommy and Billy. There's also two more
Natalie.
comments. There's also two more other comments. So let's see. Matt Jones said that's also the look Wanda had in the comics. We know. We said that.
I think he missed the beginning.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay.
We'll do a quick recap. We did point out the Wanda and the Vision and Quicksilver all comic. That was a quick recap for you guys, in case you missed.
And my grandma Barbara said, I guess I need to watch WandaVision. Yes, you do. Before you watch any of these podcasts, you really do, because you won't understand like any of the theories. Matt Jones said, yes, I missed the first 5 minutes. That's okay. I mean, honestly, you can just go back to like, it won't be on the same time, but you can just go back like after we finish the podcast, and then you can just go back to the first 5 minutes you missed.
Right.
Just in case there's any like theories or something that you missed. But we weren't really talking about anything then either.
So let's get into a couple other things. So now throughout the series, Herb, the neighbor, the big tall neighbor guy, he's been acting weird. He was cutting the fence at one point, and he
also was like, should we tell him about it to Agnes? So like maybe he knows that like maybe that's actually a person and he just likes being controlled. I mean, no one would really like being controlled, but no one else really knows what they're doing there, and he kind of like knew. Him and Agnes kind of like knew what was going on. Like the people in the simulation know what's going on, but the actual people she dragged into this don't. It's very hard to explain.
Well, it's hard to explain because it's weird, because sometimes Agnes looks like she knows what's going on, and then in this episode she looked like she didn't know what was going on. And we'll get over to Agnes in a few minutes. But so Herb,
again, but that like happens with Wanda too, so maybe it's like a glitch or something, because I mean that happened to Wanda too, because at first she had no idea what was going on, but then soon she just controlled it. It's confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. That's why we're here, to break it down for everybody. So Herb,
okay, I know what he's going to talk about. Okay, so if you did not notice, he was talking into a speaker, talking to somebody, and he was saying things before they happened.
That was weird to me. Because he
was like, everyone's covered in silly string, and then Tommy and Billy just got silly string and sprayed them all over, but that was like a second later, so maybe he can tell the future?
He said all the candy's gone, and then it happened after. And then he said all the jack-o'-lanterns have been smashed, and then it happened after. And then he said everyone's...
I have a feeling that's a glitch or something, because I have a feeling like that was going to happen, like the kids were going to do it first, and then he was going to say that.
Well, let me. This is my theory. It's a TV show. TV shows are sometimes on a delay, so that they can change things or bleep out bad words. So if he's like a producer of the TV show that they're stuck in, he's getting the information before it happens. He's like a built-in producer, and the people that are running it, whether it's in...
True, and he knew what was going on with Agnes. So maybe Agnes is another producer, but she's getting controlled by Wanda to be the producer. Because when Vision, he like brain controlled her for a minute and like took her under, like he got her. Okay. I don't know how to explain this.
Well, Matt Jones is chiming in saying...
Yes, we were going to say that as well. Do you need me to change something? Also, like, he was a producer and he was going to change something in the TV show. And then Wanda was like, no.
Right. And that was...
But she also was, like, confused for a minute. So maybe she doesn't know he's the producer and he's controlling it himself. It's really confusing.
It seems like Wanda goes in and out of knowing what's going on and not knowing what's going on.
And that's what we think is the... Natalie said, just like Agnes in the previous episode.
Correct, Natalie. Absolutely. We're seeing these glitches that aren't consistent. Just like Agnes in this episode. Well, first of all, Tommy and Billy were told not to go past Ellis Avenue. And
when Vision went past there, he found the portal to the actual world. I also think that the manager of S.w.o.r.d. was like
Hayward.
Yes, I think he's another producer or like a bad guy because Vision was coming out and he was falling apart, and then Thor's girlfriend was like,
no,
stop.
Not girlfriend, friend. Darcy was his friend.
Okay, friend. Darcy was like, stop. Help him and stuff, and then he was just like, no, let him be, like almost like he hated him,
or he knew something was up. But I want to go back to Agnes on Ellis Avenue because that's where Vision found Agnes, on Ellis Avenue, where Wanda told the kids not to go. So we find Agnes sitting there in the car. Now, we watched Vision walk through the town towards the edges of town, and everybody was frozen. And the only thing I can think of is that they're far away from Wanda, who was in the center of town. They said she was in the town square, so she was in the center of town. And as Vision got further away, everything seemed to be shutting down. So maybe Wanda's not able to control everybody at the same time, or if she's not thinking about it, they don't get controlled. Because Agnes was in shutdown mode out on the outskirts of town. And then when Vision unlocked her brain, which I think is so crazy that he has the power to do that, which makes me believe that Wanda is creating this world using Vision's body.
Yes, we picked up on that like right away. Also, Matt Jones said, and how does Vision have
autonomy over his mind control?
Like sometimes he is and sometimes he can do what he wants. So I think Wanda was being good for a little bit. I think she's actually trying to save them for something and going into the simulation. Maybe because she wants Vision to stay in there so that way he can stay safe and they won't turn him into a weapon. Okay, so what we think is someone was trying to turn him, like took his dead body and tried to turn him into a weapon, and that's why Wanda took him into the simulation. But that's actually him. He's not under her mind control. Also, in the beginning of it, when they were arguing, he was like, I'm going to go to like a Halloween party or something. And she's like, but it's their first trick-or-treating. And she was like, but that's not what you're supposed to do. And then she was like, oh, almost like she forgot that she couldn't control him.
Yeah, actually, that was interesting. She said, that's not what you're supposed to do. And then she stopped herself and said, oh, what are you doing? Where are you going? She's not used to people doing what they want on their own free will there. And Vision doing it's got to mean that he's connected to me. Not connected to me, but to me, it means he's connected to the whole system that she's created. He has control over it too. And he's only the two of them have control over it. And if you look at the title of the show, WandaVision, it's their names without a space combined.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the show that's called WandaVision. Maybe they've created this world together by being together. Both of their powers together have created this world, which is WandaVision.
Yes, and also me and Dad. Okay, so this is a big one. So just actually, maybe we should say this at the end because this blew my mind when he picked this up. When like Dad picked this up because he watched this episode like 5 times. It's
3.
well, I watched it like 2, so combined it was like 5.
Good call. This is true. So wait, I didn't finish what I was saying about Agnes. So
oh yeah,
Vision says to her, "You got lost in the town you grew up in," which suggests she isn't from that town. Because why would you get lost in the town you grew up in? Also, Agnes dressed as a witch for Halloween. Now, we've been saying that she might be another witch, which is why she can do those things.
Also, like, okay, so also skip forward to the ad. I think it's another clue that Agnes is a witch because it's called Yo Magic, and like witches have magic. Witches have magic and stuff. Okay,
that
so
was the most. If you're gonna jump to the commercial, that commercial was the most cryptic commercial out of all of the commercials. You can figure out what each commercial in other episodes meant. You can kind of get an idea of what they meant. This commercial, the kid is on a desert island. He gets Yo Magic, can't open Yo Magic, and then dies on the little island.
Which is actually kind of funny because the shark just came out of the water and he's like, "Oh, you're hungry? Okay, let me give you this. It's glued shut though. Sorry."
Yeah, maybe that meant something. Like if Wanda can't unlock the magic, she'll die, or I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe if she can unlock. Okay, maybe that's okay. Wait, so maybe what this they're just trying to make Wanda look bad, but really Wanda was good and she tried to take everybody who was in danger into that simulation so nothing bad would happen to them.
Matt Jones said that was definitely the most depressing one too. Yeah, the other ones had connections to depressing events. But that one was strange.
Let me go back a little bit. I think in episode 1 we all basically picked up like it was like Toastmaker 3000. It was by Stark Companies, and I think we basically all picked up on that. But there's another clue of that. I think since we think that these commercials are her bad memories, so we think. Okay, so since we think it's their memories, I think. Okay, wait a second. I just forgot.
Your brain is on WandaVision overload.
Yes.
And Natalie's saying maybe the commercial was a kid on the outskirts of town because the kid kind of glitched. And
wait a minute. What if it was Tommy or Billy because one of their powers was aging up?
Actually, Layla, that's a great connection. Because her kids can age up. And that kid aged to death in that commercial. That's a really good connection, honey. You really are paying attention.
Yes, I really am. Anyway, so it also said Toastmaker 3000. Maybe that was also a connection for when at the funeral Tony Stark said, "Love you 3000." I think that's one of her bad memories is when Tony Stark died.
Maybe.
Which we were basically all of the Marvel fans and Avenger fans were like crying after Endgame because we were like, but Iron Man, what is Iron Man? How could no?
Well, let's start. We got a few other things. We only have a few minutes left, and I want to make sure we get to a couple things. So Monica Rambeau's blood work came back, right? And Darcy points out that her blood has changed on a molecular level, and she accredited it. That's a fun word combination. Accredited it.
No.
Accredited.
You're making it get stuck in my head.
So she assumed it was. We'll make it an easier word. She assumed it was because she went in and out of the hex. What if it has something to do with the snap? and the hex combined, or one or the other, because maybe her molecular makeup is changing because she was snapped. Maybe it's because she was in the hex. Maybe it's a combination of both. But what I keep saying is, and I've told you this, mutants were not a thing in the MCU. They are a thing in Marvel Comics. Wolverine, all the X-Men are mutants. But Marvel didn't have the rights to the mutants being in their movies until recently. And now the Quicksilver that showed up is considered a mutant in the previous movies that he was in. Maybe Monica Rambeau is a mutant or becoming a mutant because of the snap or going in and out of the hex. Maybe they're pushing this show to make mutants part of the MCU canon. You know what canon means, Layla? Canon means in that universe. Something true in that universe. Excuse me. So, Monica Rambeau's blood comes back funky. Yes, she's got to have powers coming. They have hinted at it multiple times. So now we got to think Monica Rambeau's going to have powers, and her blood is changing. So, what are we thinking?
I don't know, but maybe we'll have we'll probably have more information in like the next episode. So let's just move on to the next theory.
Okay, this is something you mentioned before, Hayward's computer. Yes. And how we think S.w.o.r.D might have tried to turn Vision into a weapon. What if they did? Because here we go. It says cataract classified. This is when Darcy got into Hayward's computer. It says cataract classified weapon intel. So what if they were now cataract? The term cataract is something that is blurring your vision, or it makes your eyes like glaze over in white. So the connections I'm making there.
And also, okay, so yes, the connections that we're making is, okay, so in a couple of episodes earlier, Vision like turned into a zombie for a second and his eyelids were completely white.
And that's what cataract looks like.
Yes, and also in this episode, Pietro also turned into a zombie with the eyelids white.
Correct.
And I'm assuming they're probably going to announce like that's a clue or something in like a couple of episodes later, like before the last one.
Right.
Probably in like the episode before the last episode in this season, which we're probably going to be very sad about that. Oh wait, Matt Jones said Monica had the mutant gene but wasn't activated until she enters the hex because it changed.
Yes, I think that's what's happening as well. I am starting to think that anybody that's in the hex might be activated as a mutant. Like this might be, it's following a House of M storyline in a way where Scarlet Witch in the House of M storyline in the comics, I believe she tried to kill all the mutants in the House of M storyline. But maybe in the MCU version of House of M, she creates mutants accidentally. Right? Also, so back to the cataract thing. So cataract as a weapons might be a weapon. Maybe they turned Vision into a weapon. Scarlet Witch, Wanda, grabbed him and got him out of there, accidentally activated the weapon, which was some sort of mind control thing. And her powers combined with his created this whole situation. And that's why he can't live outside the hex. Because inside the hex, he's in his system. Outside the hex, he's not.
Let's go back to the comments just in case so we can like show them on the screen.
Natalie said Darcy too. Who knows what's going to happen to Darcy for going in.
And Lexi just said, OMG, just finished. Yeah, it's a lot. Like a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot to digest. This is why we started doing this roundup, this breakdown. Yep. So Natalie says Darcy too. I don't know. Was Darcy snapped away in Endgame in Infinity War? Maybe Monica's snapped away and then touches the hex and gets the power.
I thought so as well because I thought I saw, like when she came out of her hospital room and she saw everybody coming back right after she did, I thought I saw Darcy in the background. So I don't know, but it might be her.
Well, we have to wrap it up, Lay, because we can only do this for like 30 minutes or we'll just keep babbling on and on and on.
Okay, let's keep babbling on and on.
You have any final thoughts? while I flip through my notes?
No. Do you have any more notes?
I do actually. Pietro, when he was talking to Wanda, he kept insinuating he knows what's going on, but he also said, the last thing I remember, I got shot in the street, and then I heard you calling, and I was here. And then Wanda also said, I don't remember anything before this except endless nothing. What if this is some sort of afterlife crossover portal where she sucked part of the afterlife out into Earth? And now that little bubble is like a bubble of afterlife on Earth, and she can control it. And there's also some Mephisto or demon stuff involved because she sucked the afterlife out into Earth.
Yes, and speaking of that, Lexi said, I think someone is controlling Pietro. No, it really seems like it's actually him, which is weird.
Yeah, that is weird. It seems like he's also on that same page that Agnes and Herb were on, where they know what's going on sometimes, but not all the time. Because he said, where were you hiding all these kids up until now? No need to traumatize them beyond the occasional holiday episode cameo, right? Then he says, you've handled the ethical considerations of this scenario the best you could. What scenario? He knows what's going on somehow, right? He's got an idea for him to say that.
Also, before we started talking about this comment, when you were talking about that, you think that she opened a portal to like an afterlife or something.
Right.
Speaking of that, I really think. Okay, so in the first episode, we see this happening. So we think that someone glitches out whenever they mention death. So the husband was dying when he was choking on the food, and
episode 1 or 2, right?
And the wife just kept on saying, "Stop it! Stop it!" Yeah, almost like it was a glitch, and that man was like choking and dying. So I think that has something to do with that. And in this episode,
Agnes.
Agnes talked. She was like, "Am I dead?" Because and Vision was like, "Why would you think that?" And she's like, "Because you're dead. Dead.
You're like glitched into death." And the same thing happened. Yeah, you're right. Episode 1, episode 2, whatever. It seems like death glitches people out. And also, speaking of glitching, super glitches this episode with the woman hanging up the decorations was glitching. Vision saw her glitching, and she was crying.
And she was crying like it was almost that actual woman that Wanda like controlled to put her in the simulation. Because like, if you think about it, when Vision undid Wanda's spell for some people, they were like explain stuff. They were like, she's controlling us. Stop it. I gotta get back to my family. Stop her. Make her stop.
Right.
And but stuff like that.
Wanda also seems like she doesn't know what's going on sometimes. Sometimes
so I have a feeling sometimes it's actual. Okay, so I have a feeling that the devil, what did you name him again?
His name is Mephisto in the comics.
Yeah, I think Mephisto put her in this and then made. So I think Mephisto I think Mephisto chose that costume since it was like a devil costume, and sometimes he controls her and sometimes he just comes out of her, and maybe he goes into another character like Agnes or Birth or something like that.
Maybe he's jumping in and out of different bodies. That actually would make a lot of sense if he was jumping in and out of Herb. And
because Agnes sometimes knows what's going on and then she doesn't, and Herb knows but then he doesn't, and it makes a lot of sense. But I don't think Vision is being controlled by anybody because I think we already talked about this. He was being used as a weapon, and so she dragged him into this simulation. So it's actually Vision, and he doesn't know what's going on, and he just knows that they're being controlled by Wanda, but he's not.
Right.
But he also kind of doesn't know what's going on because he's like, I know Wanda's controlling these people, but why?
Two last things before we go. So Monica Rambeau keeps talking. keeps talking about her aerospace engineer friend, and she hasn't named who it is, and she keeps talking about how she's going to meet him so she can get back into the hex.
Okay,
That's got to be a character that they haven't introduced yet, or someone we already know, but I'm not sure who it is. A lot of people think it.
Matt Jones just said 2 more comments. He said she's totally grieving and forcing everyone in the town to grieve with her.
Yep, that's possible. And what's the other one?
Who did Monica R text? I think I know, but I want your take. So how about we just
That's what I'm saying right now. That's what I'm saying right now.
So everybody comment your last thoughts, and we will try to explain them if we think we know what's going on. Just say it like before we end this stream.
2 minute warning, like football. We're warning you.
Yeah, 2-minute warning.
So what was I saying? Oh, so Monica Rambeau is meeting an aerospace engineer. Matt Jones wants to know who it is. I wonder who it is. There's been rumors that it's Reed Richards from Fantastic Four, because they have the rights to bring Fantastic Four back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's plenty of different. Matt, who do you think it is? You tell us who you think it is.
Yeah, because we have no idea. Like, we didn't even pick up on, like, Monica R texting anything, really.
She said, I'm going to meet my friend on the ridge. And that's the text he's talking about. And she's like, he's going to get me back.
So maybe it's someone in the simulation, because she said on the ridge.
No, she's someone outside, because she asked him to build a vehicle for her to get in.
Okay.
So that's one of the last things.
Wait. Speaking of outside, maybe she was talking about someone outside of the real world.
No, she was talking about someone she knows outside of the hex. So here's the final shot. What happens here, Lay?
So Billy or Tommy, I forgot which one, but one of them said, Matt Jones said from The Office.
Yeah, he's thinking it's John Krasinski as Reed Richards. A lot of people think that from The Office. And it's the 2000s, and that's when he did get big in The Office. Who knows? I mean, this is so open. But yeah, so Wanda spread the...
She made it go out more, so that way she could get Vision back and like a bunch of more people.
What if she keeps doing that? How much further can she go? Shout out to my friend John Krynas, who said, what if she just engulfs the whole world? How far can she go?
I think that this TV show is just trying to make her look back. That I really, really, really think that she's trying to save people that are in danger and putting her in simulation.
She expanded the spread because she was saving Vision. But then I don't think she can control how far she opened it.
But like Vision was in danger because they were trying to use him as a weapon. So maybe she saved him because he was in danger.
Well, he was also dying when he walked out. I think that's what she realized, and she pushed him back in. Like she pushed the walls out so he would be inside the bubble, the hex.
Natalie said, but she had issues with the outskirts of the small town. So now what?
Perfect comment. Absolutely right. So, say hello to Shelby.
Hi, Shelby.
Natalie, you're right. So, but do we know if it was her that was having issues controlling the people on the outskirts of the small town, or maybe the actual simulation kind of focuses and it's not her? To me, it made sense that she couldn't control that far out, like almost like the outskirts were out of her reach, or maybe if she wasn't thinking about it, it wasn't it was on pause. Maybe it's on pause if she's not, actively thinking about it. But I think we got to wrap it up, Lay. We're only going to do 30 or 40 minutes. Shelby said hi as well. She said hi back. I think we're only going to do 30 or 40 minutes a week because we can beat this to death, and we want to make sure that we
How about we do 45 minutes? Because we have a lot of theories about all of the episodes.
Well, here's your this is for real, your closing remarks. for real this time. What you got?
I don't know. How about we just go at 9:15, so that way we have 5 more minutes.
Well, finish up, lock it up.
Okay. How about you look at your notes, because there's a lot of your notes that I don't have, so just look at your notes real quick.
I'm interested to know why they're tracking Vision. They're very concerned about Vision and less concerned about Wanda, even though she's the one doing this.
So maybe I have a feeling that's the people who joined S.w.o.r.d thought it was a good team, but really they're just trying to turn Vision into a weapon and like doing bad stuff.
Yeah, Wanda stole him from them, but also think about this. Vision was there for 5 years. Wanda was snapped away. So how much work could they have done to mess with Vision's body and his computer system to create him into a weapon in 5 years? Wanda got snapped back. Also, remember before I said I had a theory about being snapped away and snapped back and then being in the Hex and becoming a mutant?
Yes.
Maybe that's happening to Wanda. The Hex is making her more powerful because now she's becoming a mutant. Because she was snapped away, then she was back in the Hex. That's what's happening to Monica. That's what's happening to Wanda. She's becoming more powerful because now she's mutating. We're watching mutants happen in real time instead of them just being a thing that existed.
Lexi said bye. Oh no, she said because she needs him in order to keep the Hex alive. So get him out and it's over.
Yes, I think she needs him in there to keep it going. Yeah, and that's why the pieces were getting sucked back of him. Did you notice that? Like Wanda walked in and out, no problem. Vision's body was getting pulled back in by piece by piece. He wasn't just dying. The Hex was trying to pull him back in. The Hex itself was trying to pull him back.
Yeah, and we would see Wanda doing that, but for some reason, she did not use her powers or anything to do it. So I have a feeling sometimes it controls itself.
But also think about it. Used to be clear, and last episode when Wanda came out all pissed off, and she was like, "Leave me alone."
Yeah.
She touched it and turned it red. Remember, it was clear, and then she turned it red. So what did she do? What did turning it red do? What powers did turning it red unleash? Something. Did she didn't just change the color of it for fun?
Wait. So when she came out, she was angry, and usually Wanda's not like that. Well, usually with bad guys she is, but not with good guys like Shield.
Maybe S.w.o.r.d. is bad.
S.w.o.r.d.
Maybe they're the bad guys. Maybe.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that Thor's friend and Monica Rambeau don't know that.
Right. No, of course not. And that's why they were arguing with them. He kicked them out. Hayward kicked them out because they were telling him, yeah, this isn't legit. Something's up.
Yeah, So,
and then Darcy found the stuff on his computer that was sketchy, the cataract and weapon intel. So,
good.
Okay. All right, Lay, we got to wrap it up. We'd like to thank you guys for stopping by and checking out the WandaVision breakdown for episode 6, the Olives.
Next time, if you have a bunch of different theories, you can say it in the chat just like you did this time, or you can join the link.
Well, yes, if you guys ever want to come on and chime in the video, feel free to let us know in the chat, or if you know my phone number or Facebook Messenger, you can contact me that way. We can get you guys the link, and you can jump in and join us because we'd love to have some guests come in and talk with us. Thanks again. Go check us out at facebook.com/the-olive-family.
And follow us, please. We love followers. We
would like you guys to follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. All right, guys. Until next time, we are the Olives. We'll catch you guys later.